Attention economy, creator economy, everything's the economy. Every time a Silicon Valley tech bro says the word quinoa, someone dies. The existential horror of creating content online. You're in the midst of an iconic trilogy that everyone who sees will love and cherish until like 10 years down the line when they realize it hasn't aged well. Every time I hear a child say like and subscribe, I re-submerge back into the fetal position, desperately hoping that whatever cruel divine power created this horrific rock will just uninvent the concept of time. Look, I know you just clicked on this video because you're extremely confused as to why some random bitch with 11,000 subscribers was able to rally together a bunch of YouTubers with a collective audience of over 1 million people. And honestly, I don't know either. My entire life, I've continuously failed upwards. I don't gain success off of sheer ability. It can only be achieved by passing out, waking up 4 days later, and suddenly you have 100,000 followers on TikTok. Make it stop. I asked these people to be interviewed and they said yes. They did it on purpose. They could have very easily said no, but they said yes. So this is not my fault. And so what did I do with this power? Loads of blackmail.
Okay, do you want the juicy stuff? But you have to promise you'll cut it.
Don't put that in.
Yeah, don't put that in.
Maybe don't put this out, but
Actually, don't put that in.
cut that.
But also, I got them to tell me about why creating content can be problematic, actually. A mysterious concept, I know. I know what you're thinking. Mia, you're so brave. I mean, discussing why your place of work that allows you to set your own hours, put out as much or as little as you want with total flexibility is actually problematic? Game changer. Yes, I know it is truly groundbreaking. Thank you. My authenticity is through the roof. Everyone is constantly talking about other people's content on YouTube, but what if you all shut up for a second, let a real big brain talk about the very concept of uploading content to YouTube at all? In order for your tiny little malleable viewer brains to grasp this ever complex topic, I laid out all the themes and ideas in a very easy, very familiar way for you to understand. I put all my core central ideas into a blender and I went,
I'm Candace Owens' niece.
Part 1, temptation. I set out to figure out why so many look to content creation as a means of making a living. What is this seductive temptation and allure of starting a YouTube channel, a prestigious hobby, though it may be? And most importantly, how do I make the robot like me? Because I want to be an influencer too. Guys, I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be like super fucking complicit in this behavior. I'm not your spy on the inside. I'm manufacturing authenticity, taking my check, then throwing it back into this machine in order to capitalize off of the opportunity. I've extrapolated this out long enough in my head in order to live off this 6th cycle of compound interest, and I'd rather die than divulge any more of my plans. Part 1, temptation.
My son now is old enough to understand that I'm a YouTuber, and he keeps like, Daddy, you want to record us? Like, fuck no, I'm not recording you. Oh no, somebody's child. Oh, don't.
Whoa, you can't just have these people just walk on in here, Mia. You gotta introduce me first. Have you even considered the audience retention rate implications of your actions? Yes, almost constantly. I feel like I'm dying. Excellent point, observant commenter. Let's start from the top. This is Noah Samson. He does, like, he's a YouTuber.
I have like 45 DUIs, somewhere between like commentary and video essay with like some leftism sometimes.
Yeah. Noah makes commentary videos about very complex topics such as misogyny bad, misogyny bad, misogyny bad. And this is FD Signifier. He's old.
I actually have to go pick up the kids. I have to take them to therapy though, so it's not as fun.
He makes videos about
a mix of hard-hitting analysis of modern Black issues, usually using media with a broad leftist framework.
Well said, Mr. Signifier. This is Victory. He's our resident small channel correspondent. But not for long. I told this man to describe his channel, and he did a fucking Patreon ad on my video. So that's Victory. This is Ben from Canada. He makes videos, and it's Canada. I don't know.
I'm a millennial, technically, but a Gen Z at heart.
That's what you want to hear.
Khadija Mbowe.
Social issues where sociology meets media studies meets utter chaos. Because at the end of the day, I just want more people to give a shit.
Okay, and that's everyone. That's all of them. You can cut away. That's all. Ugh, God damn it. This is CJ the X.
Shut up, Mia.
CJ makes trash, and we're public enemies. So, why are you doing this? Why would you, as a woman, ever do this on purpose? Some say they want to make people laugh. Some say they want to make the world a better place. Some say I'm lazy, but I want money. Personally, I'm option 4, which is that. Why would you ever personally and intentionally make the decision to make videos on this hellscape? A prestigious title, though it may be. YouTube as a platform encourages you to post videos. The button is right there for everyone, and therefore even the most casual of viewers have had that very dangerous thought. What if I do that? If you scroll to the comments right now and click on a bunch of random channels, there's a good chance at least like a third of them have some kind of content, most of which is comprised of vertical cell phone video pointing at a TV screen playing Fortnite, therefore meaning that objectively bad art is undoubtedly real. Fuck you. Because at the end of the day, YouTube is a social media platform. However, it has the unique property of most people being shit at it. I mean, anyone can take a good picture. Anyone can write a good tweet. In theory, but not everyone can make a good YouTube video. It takes a lot of practice and a decent amount of knowledge on video production. TikTok, on the other hand, oh boy, well, they're just paving the way for democratized video sharing, aren't they? If you follow a trend with a slight subversion, you can technically make content. Whether or not that's a good or bad thing is up for debate. But for now, all you need to know is that you have the power to compete with every other person on this video sharing platform. What was I talking about? Unlike any other streaming platform, the audience itself can participate in this milking of viewership and aggregation of attention. I'm not a content creator, I'm an artist. In actuality, I'm more of a yassified film producer. I'm Spielberg with eyeliner. I'm Hitchcock with jump cuts. I'm Tarantino without all the foot stuff.
What made you start making videos on this hellscape?
I had graduated university and I was like, I don't know what to do. I didn't realize until I graduated how like stifled I felt creatively. It just kind of started naturally going in the direction of, okay, I should make videos. And my sister was actually like, you should definitely try YouTube. I think you should give it a shot. So
Basically, like 2 weeks prior, I started using TikTok. People were, saying to use it. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then I started uploading these weird art things that I had been experimenting with. And they did really well on TikTok. And I was like, oh shit, algorithms are a thing.
I was annoyed that it didn't feel like anybody I was watching either did anything about Black media. And when they did, it was like, I have been saying literally for years, I'm going to start a YouTube channel where I talk about Black movies the same way that my favorite creators talk about, non-Black movies.
I started making YouTube videos because I was so broke and so bored. I had no shame left and I lost my personal, ire that I had towards the medium, like just out of a complete lack of any other option. I was just like, I'll do this.
If you could just completely shit on the platform this entire time, that's very appreciated.
It's so funny because I have so much and you have so little and you want it so bad and I so openly resent it.
Fascinating. Looks like the seductress of the internet strikes again. Why do I create content? Because I feel empty inside. Don't you guys feel empty inside? Someone needs to take my YouTube password away. I actually made a deal with my friends that if/when I die within the next 2 decades, they will take my YouTube channel and make a video of a eulogy for me to like protect my legacy. Something's wrong with me. Part 2, consistency. Now, before I go any further, let it be known that I don't want this video to come across as some scathing expose of creating content. If I truly felt this job was that awful and not worth the work, I would have quit years ago. However, I would like to start an open dialogue about the more pernicious aspects of the industry. Cause I'm super fucking empathetic and good faith pilled. I just love empathy. I'm drowning in empathy. First things first, buzzwords equal profit and profit equals happiness. We all know that. How does one maintain the ability to keep creating content? You might have heard of the concept of YouTuber burnout. In 2020, a bunch of YouTubers came out of the closet as mentally ill and discuss this idea of burnout. Now, generally when a new sociological theory is sprung up by millionaires in order to explain their unhappiness, I generally don't. It reminds me of that timeless photo of Sam Smith crying on the stairs of their $1 million mansion. Like, of course, I know I should feel bad for you. I pride myself on being open-minded towards all viewpoints and trying to understand everybody individually. However, and this might be hard for some of you to hear, but I am not ContraPoints. I'm sure quarantine was hard for them. I don't doubt that. But at the same time, there are millions of Americans who go through their everyday lives without stay with me money. A song which, and this is true, is not good. Anyway, what was I saying?
How do you maintain inspiration to keep creating?
It's more like, why do I keep doing it? I would say is a better question.
You make time for things that you find to be important. I make time for things that I find to be important. I would like to do this. This is what I would like to make my job, at least for some period of time.
When I run out of things to say, I stop saying them. I think that's maybe the most legendary secret rule. I am lucky and blessed enough to have a lot to say and to have stumbled upon like a channel like video format that is like feels relatively novel and engaging, it would seem, right?
I have fun making videos, and I have tried not to make it my career because I really would not like to be a YouTuber. But as far as like creating things that people will watch and I'll get money and people like to hear my opinions and sort of sharing my id a little bit.
I started making videos because I had nothing else going on. And then I kept doing it because this seemed like it might be my key to a career and finally being able to give the part of me that I thought was most valuable to an audience that wanted it. And then lately I've started enjoying that I'm making videos.
I think this ability to keep creating in a sustained and healthy manner is good. However, I personally won't be partaking. My means of creation is inherently unhealthy, and I'd like to keep it that way. Thank you very much. If you've ever seen the advice given to prospect YouTubers when they're first starting, that's the number one thing to do. Stay consistent. Speaking of which, doesn't that look like propaganda? That's like really propaganda. I find these videos very similar to like when the military would come to your high school and they'd, prey on all the poor kids. Come join the army. The military industrial complex is good, actually. Part 3, the longevity of creation. Look, when the Mia Cole YouTube channel inevitably hits 10 billion subscribers and I'm subsequently crowned president for life, let it be known that the first thing I do with my power is I take all like my intrusive thoughts and I extrapolate them, I turn them into their own person, and then there's like two of me, right? And we go at it like this, and it's like, so there's like a morally good and a morally bad, and then like when one of us dies, like we can transfuse the life into the others, and so my legacy lives on forever. I think I just invented the concept of a Horcrux. I'm literally J.K. Rowling. Wait, not like that. Quitting. The act of leaving something behind for good in pursuit of something else. When a YouTuber discusses the idea of quitting, it usually has some kind of negative connotation to it. A typical example would be some kind of controversy thrusting somebody out of the positive spotlight. A fall from grace that's normally a sad sight. Intriguing, though it may be. I'm sure this will never turn into a sick entertainment cycle. However, quitting can also occur when somebody's just given up on the platform or is ready to move on. It can be the next logical step in a career path. I mean, a creator can't be expected to stay married to one platform and one specific audience forever. I mean, in the immortal words of CJ the X, I am not your bae, bitch, I'm about to quit. I'm sure they're gonna love that joke. Personally, I've never thought about quitting for real. I'm far from the level at which I need to achieve in order to even start the clock on my career. So this is where those degenerates I interviewed come into play.
I think about quitting all the time. I have a 3 to 5 year plan. I really never was interested in micro celebrity. I was more interested in like having a creative outlet. I'm old and I feel like I'm old. Like I'm not gonna be fucking 45 releasing Bo Burnham is bad and here's why videos. Like I'm not gonna do that. But I also might just make videos until I die because capitalism.
I want to quit all the time. Are you kidding me? All the time. Especially last year, my ass is putting out a video every week like a monster. But I was having a breakdown every other week. It was so difficult. Oh my God. Yes.
The platform that we are on, and while it is sustainable and you're able to build a career and make a good living, it will never be enough. Human ambition will always just continuously grow. And the truth is, YouTube will forever be an internet medium. That's why when a YouTuber does break into the mainstream, they don't really come back. If you give someone the world, of course they're gonna want the whole solar system. That's just how our brains work. And if you think that's a bad thing, why do you hate women? When someone moves on from the platform, it's just a natural stage of progression in this sick life cycle. It's something I think we don't like to think about very often, mainly because the platform still feels so new to us. And to this day, this culture that we've built is still virtually unknown to most of the people on this earth. Aggregation of attention, the job, is not exactly where a lot of people see their end all be all. This will make a varying level of sense to you depending on your general ambition and your dreams, but also like what generation you come from. FG Signifier's general apathy towards the idea of making Bo Burnham as bad videos when he's 45 is understandable. To this generation, it makes a lot more sense to us that YouTube as a job can be viable as a career forever. It makes sense to us because we grew up with this platform always being an option. When I was in grade school, the first ever job I wanted was actress. You know what the second ever job I wanted was? Fucking YouTuber. It makes sense to us because YouTube is just an invention from the early 2000s. And we are also inventions from the early 2000s. YouTube is 17 years old. I am barely older than this platform. From my point of view, YouTube has always been a viable career path. Oh God, I'm doing my little dance again. Victory is about the same age as me, so it was very refreshing talking to him. We also both had the same experience of being told while we were very young that we should be selling our personalities for content.
People are making money off of their personalities? Huh? What? This is what we're doing? And I wasn't told until now? Blink, blink.
Oh my God, you guys have such strong personalities. Have you ever thought about commodifying your soul for the sake of personal and financial gain on the largest means of mass communication this world has ever seen? Normal things you say to a child. Part 4, fear of the mob. Look, I've been preparing for my inevitable cancellation for a while now, to the point where it's kind of a meme on this channel. By the way, I wrote this part of the video before the infamous live stream. Can we talk about my involvement in Pizzagate real quick? I really should limit your free speech. Incidentally, hit that notification bell so you know next time to catch me in 4K. I will be the next in a long line of amazing women on this platform to make an exactly 100-minute video explaining my cancellation. I've been taking notes and I'm ready for Judgment Day. My heart may weigh more than a feather, but at least they have McDonald's in hell. Let's focus for a minute on the difference between being canceled and being dogpiled. While both are easily classified under the broad spectrum of cancel culture, they have some distinct differences. Dogpiling usually stems from one singular group of people going and mobbing somebody because of a disagreement in ideology, identity, other things. This is an important distinction from the idea of being canceled, as that usually comes from a broad array of people trashing you for something you did and said, and importantly, those people are actually usually within your community, whereas dogpiling is more separate. While the effects of both can be very similar, the differences are fundamental to our discussion, so try to keep up. So instead of waxing philosophically and douchedly, I'll give you an example. CJ the X had the gall to bring up streamer Vosh on my video.
I remember, and let's name drop just to fuck myself for no reason, but like Vosh ContraPoints drama thing happening on Twitter. It's happening, right? And I was watching it for entertainment. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And then I had this horrible thought, which I was like, oh my God, one tweet, I'm part of the controversy. It's not like over there anymore. I could just say one thing and suddenly I'm in the drama recap. I didn't like that feeling.
Incidentally, I am in fact a better streamer. Feel free to just take money out of my pockets as a woman. Now let's get one thing very clear. Here at Mea Cole Corp, we do not discuss politics, which is why I want to make it very clear that this is not a partisan discussion. Look, I may be a left tuber, however, and this is true, I don't make videos about leftism. I mean, I totally agree with the ideology. However, you guys just kind of mix me up with these degenerates, and I guess it tends to work out. I don't even have pronouns. I don't know where this leftist shit came from. Nevertheless, one of my valued colleagues, Noah Sampson, had a bit of a run-in with Mr. Vosh himself. And while the details are honestly unimportant, it doesn't matter who was right and who was wrong. All you need to know is Noah did Vosh violence, the effect of which was very real. He was legitimately inundated with Vosh supporters on Twitter for days. Videos sprung up talking about the drama, and what was seemingly an innocent video talking about some of his Vosh criticisms turned into this all-out war via Twitter and YouTube comment section.
The woke mob came for me. This is my story. Bum bum. So I got into a little bit of conflict recently on YouTube.com, and like I had 2 videos about political live streamers, and the videos didn't, for one audience, really didn't go well, and for another audience did. And so for the audience that didn't go well, they just happened to be like logic lords, so it's like really intense, the kind of conversations that spin out of it.
Political people on YouTube are really unforgiving and rigid and don't understand that you're a person behind the camera.
That was like on your phone for like 3 days straight, like, because I didn't know like to turn off my notifications when that happens, like just the basic rules of how to not like have serious like mental damage from that experience. And so from that, like coming out of that, like 3 days later was like I was like exhausted and like I went into depression afterwards. It's dumb, like it's way too much.
Was this video going to invite some discourse? Yes. Did Noah deserve this? No. Be nice to him. He's a fragile little guy.
I think most of the time when people come to my videos, they just comment like, I can't watch this, you're too handsome. I can't watch this, you're too tall. Mostly they say, I can't watch this, you have too nice of a mustache.
Okay, maybe it wasn't that bad. This is not a criticism of opinions or ideology. What I'm merely trying to communicate is that when one audience attacks a creator, whether it's intentional or not, it has lasting impacts.
Baseline rules: mute notifications from people that you don't follow. Don't don't tweet. Just don't tweet.
God, I can't believe I just unironically talked about Vosh drama for the last minute. I feel like I need to cleanse myself. This was a small niche community of a political live streamer attacking a commentary, video, essayist, misogyny, bad guy. So what happens when that simmer turns into a boil? I don't know why I said it like that. That was weird. Nearly 2 decades ago, in the year of our Lord 2019, Natalie Wynn was attacked on Twitter. I know, I'm just as surprised as you are. This cancellation was sparked by a video in which prominent trans guy Angel Buck reads a quote, and because he's problematic, she's problematic. They always blame the woman. This incident took the idea of Twitter harassment to a whole new level. A lot of older stand-up comedians will assert that Twitter isn't a real place and that you can always walk away. So I'm here to tell you that No. Canceling does actually have real world consequences when your money stream comes from the internet. And that's exactly what happened to a bunch of people who were somehow implicated in this scandal. I mean, like, scandal, and, you know, actually half the people involved didn't even do anything. LeftTube really became the first group of people to actually be canceled for literally nothing. This is why there are a lot of online creators who have to separate their online persona from the real person. Not even in a parasocial way, but in a legitimate disassociation to the fourth degree kind of way. At this point, if you're an online creator, you just have to literally remove yourself from your online persona.
I make the distinction between Pokimane and Iman more so as a way to like mentally protect myself from certain things.
I use a very strong persona. That's a kind of fictional character that I play on the internet. And that makes it easier for me to cope with criticism because I feel that it's not Natalie being criticized, it's ContraPoints.
That's the landscape we've built. That's what online harassment does to people. And this actually brings up an excellent point about cancel culture that I learned through my interviews. Honestly, I can't even believe I'm about to say this online, like purposely, publicly. But I guess we're in too deep now. You get the audience you cultivate. Your audience's toleration of you, or where they've chosen to draw the line, is entirely dependent on how much power you give them.
Do you ever worried about being canceled?
You know, I don't really, and not because I don't think I'm cancelable, but because I'm very honest about the fact that I'm gonna fuck up. So if people want to cancel me individually in their minds, they can, that's fine. It's like, yes, I need to meet you in the middle. I can't freak out every time you say something. Yeah, I can be sensitive and still talk about my feelings, but at the same time, you got to kind of try to come and meet me a little bit.
I went from a private citizen who can make jokes or make comments that were really innocuous, but when you have a million people parsing through your every word to find fault, you have to be super careful.
I'm going to say no, but a few years ago, this would have been a nightmare for my mental health. Like I have a BPD diagnosis, and so it's hypersensitive to external validation or criticism. So these days I've gotten to the point in like my treatment and like dealing with myself where I just have a more mature understanding of what an online audience is like. So when I'm getting a downpour of compliments, I can deal. And then when I'm getting a bunch of insults, it hurts, but it doesn't like then send me into a spiral. I can kind of balance out to be like, this is the job. And ultimately it's important to me that like my audience knows that nothing they can say necessarily would make my mental health worse or better. You know what I mean?
This is legitimately something I need to be better at, because as I grow an audience, I need to set their expectations of me. How do I get them, or you, to hold me to a certain level of moral expectations, but while also leaving room for the sake of comedy and jokes and my general apathetic sarcasm vibe or whatever I have going on? How I go about implementing these standards, only time will tell.
Like my theory on cancellation is that you're more prone to be canceled based on the audience you aggregate and the example you set to them.
You know, actually, Jordan Peterson, of all people, once said that the more higher ground you put yourself at, the more people will expect of you, and they'll eventually eat you, which I think is quite true.
Here I was thinking I thought of something, and you're telling me fucking Jordan Peterson said that shit?
He said that. And it's like, wow, like, I mean, you know, you clearly are a doctor.
If you've constructed a community that kind of expects this some semblance of like piousness or coherence out of you, or like constant explanation or apology, then you're kind of setting yourself up for an even more unjust and difficult to unravel cancellation than if you're kind of blatant about everything.
Can everyone just like shut up for a second and make me famous already? This isn't a request, it's a command. I will physically harm you. But Mia, you're 5'8", and yet somehow you look like you have a peanut allergy. Who do you think is afraid of you? No more questions. Small channel purgatory. We all know it. We all know it, right? Guys, you're not telling me that creating content for The Void is a more individualist experience than I may think, and that I'm actually alone, right? Right? Guys, I'm relatable, right? I have a relatable life, right? I'm gonna stop before I induce another existential crisis. Yeah, small channel purgatory. who's she? I define the concept as when your content enters that depressing state of having a very small, possibly loyal viewer base, but never being able to attract that big in-group. Isn't that so fun? That's so fun. You know what that's like, right? It's that depressing in-between where you're making content full-time, yet have still failed to aggregate some kind of collective audience, like a little beta cut. It's honestly really fun, and actually, I'm really happy. However, you don't need to just take it from me. I'm not the only loser around these parts. Let's talk to Victory the Creator.
How long have you been making videos? And like, what's your current subscriber count?
I just hit 4K today, actually. I started making videos, like, I'm taking this seriously. I'm going to start making videos in October of last year.
This idea of taxingly working on videos whilst in the midst of being in college, or a dumbass like me, is genuinely terrifying. And it feels like both of us are just trying to stay above water in very similar ways. Or, you know, maybe he's doing fine and this is just a me problem. I don't know. And frankly, I don't care. Because no matter what, there are untold thousands of other people in the same situation. At this point, we just kind of have to look around and take inventory of our options. This semi-limbo that we're held in is so mentally taxing. Like, putting out this work to be received by literally nobody is so disheartening, and it's part of the reason that this video has taken so long for me to even make. When people ask me what I do, like, for a living, I unironically tell them I'm a YouTuber, because that's where I am in life at this point. I mean, I guess this is how I make money, technically. Look, as a leftist video essayist, I do have to say, something capitalism. This is by far the greatest first world problem of all time. God, it's so hard having access to all this technology and yet still being a fucking loser. I know on paper how much of an asshole this makes me sound. This whole video actually is just one big microaggression. Truly and honestly, I know how this is going to be perceived, but this is my entire life. This is how I've lived, and I can't escape that as much as I want to. And I think the only way for you to genuinely understand what I'm saying is I'm gonna have to go deeper. I gotta get you to understand and feel what I feel every day. There's something to be said for this crushing pressure I feel to put out content. The high of having completed a piece of work, and then the insane low of it not being received by anybody. It's genuinely a really depressing cycle, and it took me a while to figure out what was even going on. I didn't acknowledge this until very recently. I'd be in therapy talking about extreme highs and lows I feel, euphoric triumph, feeling like a genius, inflating my ego, thinking I'm God, and then accidentally setting my hair on fire. That one was pretty funny, but still. And then the immediate drop off of realizing none of it matters. All of this emotion I'd been feeling because of this one project, it doesn't mean anything at all. Do I look tired? Am I tired? It's 5 in the morning. It's 5 in the fucking morning. I guess this has been happening for like 4 or 5 years now. Feeling like the views I so desperately craved were due to a lack of self-worth. Debilitating feelings of inadequacy followed by extreme bursts of energy. And by views, I really just mean Twitter followers. I'm hilarious. And I keep all of this bottled up inside because I have this inescapable need that I've only really been able to articulate recently. And it's that I genuinely have this need to feel better than everybody on the internet. Strictly referring to my online persona, I want to look intelligent. I want to be witty. I want to be a bimbo at my own expense. It's like a little faucet of bimbo. Like, I'm just gonna sprinkle it every so often. Because of course, in real life, I'm actually very bimbo pilled. Guys, I just want to be so funny and irreverent. Is that a crime? So when I am vulnerable, I have to think through it very carefully and check to make sure it somehow still matches up with this persona that I've displayed for myself. And I'm gonna tell you right now, this doesn't pass the test. So it's this like internal clash of self-perception when my feelings contradict that need. God, I hate being articulate. I'm gonna dumb it down from now on. Mental health struggles when it comes to creating content online are honestly too well documented. And frankly, and this is at the risk of sounding classist, but I don't care when multimillionaires are sad. I'm sorry. I love when the general public goes through these little mental health phases they have. Sometimes when you're in this situation, this cycle of video after video, just indefinitely losing ambition, it can feel impossible to continue with this goddamn job. Which is why today's video is brought to you by BetterHelp. Ew, what kind of part title is that? What are you, a self-help book from the 70s that inexplicably has a chapter on homosexuality? This is the internet. We don't like positivity. Positivity is bad. Whatever happened to Twitter? Apathy is fun, actually, and if you disagree with me, I'll hit you over the head with a shovel for comedic relief in this movie we call reality. My goal with this project has always been to just start an open dialogue about my qualms with this job. I want to reiterate that I am very thankful, and I don't want to come off as too entitled. I mean, come on, this is the internet. After all, what else is there to do besides aggressively make fun of everything? Incessantly complaining is my job. Complain about Encanto. Complain about Scooby-Doo. Complain about... At the end of the day, I love what I do. I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't love it. Besides, if I didn't do this, I wouldn't have met all the incredible people in this video. Khadija Mbowe seems like a lovely person. Noah Samson is my favorite pick-me boy of all time. Victory is so smart and charismatic, it kind of scares me. FD's a boomer, but he's a good boomer. Ben is incredibly insightful and generous. And CJ...
well, she's a whore, but she's my whore.
Exactly. So I guess ultimately, if there was one thing I could say, if there was one note I could leave you on, especially to the people out there who still have that burning ambition and that nearly debilitating drive to do what this is, despite all of my warnings and my persuading you the other way, I would leave you with this. I don't know. Have you tried drugs or something?
I am not content, okay? I'm a person.